Good evening. I'm so glad to be here because, for a while I thought that it would be impossible to have these talks today because there were some technical issues here where I live in Brussels. So I'm glad that I'm here and that you are here and that we can have this chat. Um, but first of all, I'd like to make some announcements, a short announcements. As you know, these talks are sponsored by NECAFLA here in Brussels, Belgium, and by the grace of God, we are now being allowed to have some of our activities in person, and we are so happy about it. We are so thrilled to be able to be back and see people in the flesh, because we as human beings, as spirits incarnated in this world, we need human contact. So I'm so glad about it. So we are back with our magnetic passes. We are back with our talks, but you still need to go to the website. You still need to register because we cannot have the same size as we used to have before. We're limited to roughly about 10 people. But it's a good start. It is better than what we had before, so we are very happy about it. So please go to our website, www.necafla.be, and you can then there register for the magnetic passes. You can register to be present at our talks. You cannot just come because that's not possible. You have to first register so that we can organize the thing properly. So I'm very glad to make this announcement. And we already started last Saturday, and it was a great success. I'm so thrilled about it, really. So, but we'll continue with these talks here in English and from time to time in Portuguese and French, so that people, still are there. We also have decided to start again in person our interviews, where we talk to people, where we can exchange, where we can lend an ear to people, and they can talk about their issues, their problems, whether they are personal problems or spiritual problems, whatever you feel comfortable of doing, of course. So these are good news. So we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, to use this cliche, so overused over the years. But we really are seeing the end of the light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm so happy to make these announcements. We are going back. We are back to the game, ladies and gentlemen, in person. So I'm very happy about it. Now I would like to do our prayer. And I just ask you to please close your eyes and try to find a comfortable position for your physical bodies so that you feel really in touch with God's universe, so that you feel that you are in the presence of God, in the presence of light that is coming from all over the universe, from the furthest star in the universe, but also from God himself. So we are here before him, and we're going to really try and find a place of calm and quiet within ourselves, where we can be in touch with our essence, our spiritual essence, what is most profound in our being. And there, in the serenity of this place, of this temple, we can then feel the vibrations coming from all over the world, not only the physical world, but also the spiritual world. We can feel love, we can feel tenderness, we can feel happiness, we can feel hope, we can feel strength, we can feel compassion. And then here, we can also give a little bit of ourselves to those in need, whether they are incarnate or disincarnate. So Let us welcome the spirits that are around us, those that are going to be with us, those that are going to help us, those that are going to inspire us, those that are going to protect us. Let us also thank those spirits that are required today to help us, to be here, to be part of the crew, if you like. And they will be here all along to try to guide us so that we don't stray, so that we are not overtaken by our bad tendencies. And then let us thank Jesus, our greatest brother, the one that is always there to inspire us, to guide us, the one from whom we inherited a treasure of knowledge, a treasure of light. He who is always in our hearts, he who is guiding us at every instance of our multiple lives. And finally, let us raise our thoughts to God, to our Creator, to thank Him for the opportunity that He's giving us today to be here before Him. And let us ask Him His permission to start our talks tonight. Amen. You know, I was talking to my wife the other day, and she said to me that, I'm always singing at home. I'm always, having a song in my head. And it is true. I'm an amateur musician, but, when I was working 60 hours a week, I didn't have time for music. I only had time for material things. But now that I have a little bit more time, music is really fulfilling me. And recently, while thinking about what I was going to say to you today, a song came into my head. It was called The Greatest Love of All. It's a song that was made very famous by George Benson and by Whitney Houston a few years ago, both of whom are great artists. But looking at the lyrics, just the first part is okay, but the second part onwards is not good, because it's really a hymn to a song about being selfish, about putting yourself at the center of everything. And I'm not criticizing the author of the song. I'm just saying that it should have been inspired by the first verses, which goes like this: I believe the children are a future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside, and give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to be. And that's it. The first part is okay, but then it becomes worse and worse. So what is the greatest love of all? This is the question that I try to explore with you tonight. In Matthew 22, 34 to 40, it is written that thou shalt love thy God with all thy heart and all thy soul and with all thy mind. So you have to love God. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. So we have to learn to love God above all else. We have to learn to love ourselves. And we have to love our neighbor, because we need to first love ourselves in order to love our neighbor. But by saying that doesn't mean that we have to be at the center of this love. No, it's just be able to get along with yourself. So as we would love ourselves, we can love our neighbors. And what is the greatest love of all? What is the greatest love of all? Is it the love of God? Is it the love of oneself? Is it the love of one's neighbor. Which one is the most important? Really, which one is the most important? I ask you, which one is the most important? Which one should we concentrate on if we are to take the right decisions, if we are to look for light, if we are to be guided by good principles? Which one is the most important? Which one should we concentrate on? For a Christian, and this is my view of it, for a Christian, for a Spiritist, loving God is a primal state, is the first state. It is the original state. It is not a precondition. It is a part of our spirit. It is what we are. It is a certitude. It is a part of who we are. We should then concentrate on what we can change, ourselves and our relationships to others, And in this case here, when we're talking about loving yourself and loving your neighbor, then there is a precondition, because we cannot love our neighbor without loving ourselves. So we first have to learn to love ourselves in order to love our neighbor. This is the theory of it. But in fact, the whole thing can happen at the same time. So as you explore yourself, as you get to know yourself, as you become more and more at ease with yourself, then more and more you'll be able to love your neighbors. More and more you get closer to your neighbors. More and more you get closer to those that are incarnate or disincarnate. So although there is a precondition, it's not sequential. You can do it at the same time. So work on yourself, try to improve yourself, try to become a better person, but also keep in mind that you have to love people. You have to love people, because otherwise some people will say, well, I'm not ready to love people because I don't love myself. No, you can do that at the same time. But at first, you should focus on learning how to love yourself. And obviously, in that song that I sang in the beginning, the guy said it's an easy thing to do. No, it's not an easy thing to do. It's very difficult for some of us to love ourselves. Some of us who have suffered, some of us who had traumas in their infancy, some of us who had difficult experiences in past lives, they don't have an easy time loving themselves. In fact, if you look around, if you look at your own histories, in your families, for example, you see a lot of people who hate themselves, a lot of people who committed all along their lives a very long suicide by abusing drugs, by abusing their bodies, by being violent, by being always fighting people, and so on. So try to do that. Try to focus on learning how to love ourselves, and so that you can love your neighbor. In this way, and as I said, you shouldn't do it in a sequential way. You should do it at the same time. Obviously, love is not restricted to those who love or believe in God. Not at all. Not at all. In fact, some of the greatest Christians, between brackets, in terms of their true behavior, do not believe in God. Because they have high moral ideals, they can still work as if they were Christians, as if they believed in God, but they don't necessarily believe. Some of them are like that. And, we can always talk about examples, but there are many, many, many. For example, you take a guy like Einstein, for example, he principally at the end of his life, he didn't believe in God per se, but he was behaving in very charitable ways. So even if you're an atheist, you can still love yourself. You can still love your neighbors as you would love yourself. But if you're a Christian, then it becomes an obligation, in fact. It becomes one of your missions in life. But, one can ask, what is love? And one of the first talks I gave here in this series was about love, and it's a subject that is very important to me and very close to my heart, because I'm here to learn how to love people. It's very difficult for me. Maybe it's easy for some of you, but it's not easy for me. So what is love? We all believe that we know the answer. We all believe that we know the answer. Most of us believe, I know what it is. Well, it is a sentiment. Yes, it is a sentiment. It comes from within. Yes, it comes from within. It comes from the heart. Yeah, it comes from the heart, not a physical heart, but the emotional heart. It comes from the mind. Also can come from the mind. I personally believe it comes from the heart, but some people say it comes from the mind. But it's an endless discussion. We also know many examples of love, many examples of love. A son towards his father, a father towards his children, a husband towards a wife, a companion towards another companion, a mother towards a child. And some people say that the love of a mother to a child is the greatest expression that we can have here on earth of love. It is possible. It is possible. It is possible. But obviously, there are some, cases where it's not like that at all. But it is possible. It is possible. So, and we also know of the power of love. We also know of the power. It is a very powerful sentiment. It is an extremely powerful sentiment. It makes us happy. It gives us strength. It helps us. It cures us of some of the problems that we may have, even physical problems, even some diseases, for example, mental diseases, for example. If we receive love, it can help us on the way to a cure. It consoles us, obviously, and it makes miracles possible. And it's extreme. One of the real problems that people have in modern society is of lack of love. You see that around here in Brussels, for example, where older people many times are parked somewhere in a old people's home without any love, without any family. They are forgotten there. They are stored there, and these people need love. They lack love, and all you have to remember is that when you're truly in love with somebody or some person, you exude love. You give love to everybody around you. So love is a tremendously engaging force, and it helps everyone. It helps everyone around the universe. And as you know, by our philosophy, what you give is what you receive. So if you give love to people, you're going to receive love. So start exercising the power of love, and the power of love will take you very, very far. But we still differentiate many kinds of love, many kinds of love. We can feel vibration, different vibrations. When you look at the love you have for a parent, it's not the same that you have for your child. It's not the same that you have for your child. It's a different kind of love. You feel notes, like notes of music. This love is in my heart. I feel it in a different way. The love you have, for example, even for a pet is different from the one you have for your child or for your enemy, for example. Some people cannot love enemies. Although they are Christians, they're supposed to love their enemies, and they come up with the idea, okay, I have to feel some compassion. Okay, fine. It's better than the contrary, lack of compassion. It's better than hate. It's better than wanting revenge. So we feel these notes, we feel these colors of love, We feel the waves, comes in waves like that and takes you away. But also love needs space in your heart. It needs space within yourself, within your being. And if you have in your heart jealousy, if you have pride, if you have vanity, if you have hate, if you have anger, then there isn't much space for love. So in order for you to love, you have to banish these impurities from you. And some people also mistake, love for sex and love for passion. It is not the same. It is great to have all three of them together in one person, but it is very rare to have love, passion, and sex with the same person. But at the same time, uh, love, we're talking here about pure love, love, fraternal love, love that is coming from the universe, love that is pure, the essence of love. This is what you have to look for. And we differentiate love only because we are imperfect, only because we are imperfect. And in order for us to stop differentiating love, we have to clean up our souls. We have to look inside ourselves and see, where is that hate? Let me get it away from here. What is that anger? Let me get it away from me. Where is that that vanity? What is that pride? Let me get it away from me so that I can create a space for love. Because one of our missions in life, in any life, whether it is in this world or on the other side, is to increase our capacity to love. And I repeat this many, many times, and I'll continue to do so, because we have to learn how to love more and better. Love more and better. It's an objective of each incarnation, of each period that we are on the other side. This is what we are here for. This is what we are here to learn. This is what we are here to increase our capacity. This is why we go to the other side as well, because we still have to learn how to love even on the other side. As we near the end of our journeys, the long journeys after many incarnations, we will approach God. We will approach God. We will get nearer and nearer to God, but we will never become God, obviously. And as we grow spiritually, then our love will become one. Will become one. We will no longer see these gradations, these divisions. We will no longer see that. We will no longer feel that either. We only feel one energy, one energy. We will only feel its purity, what is there. We will only feel one love, only one love. Proximity to God will happen only if we feel unconditional love, unconditional love. A love devoid of restrictions, a love devoid of limitations, a love devoid of impurities, a love devoid of hate, jealousy, anger, of spite, a love devoid of conditions. I love you if, it's not good. Sometimes we do that to our children, if you get a good grade, I'll love you. Not good. Don't do that, because you're basically hurting your child. You should love them as they are. Of course, you're there to correct them. Of course, you're there to teach them things. But just love them the way they are at that moment. And you will see that the power of love is tremendous to correct people, to improve how they are. And children are open to love. So instill love in their hearts, and you get it back from them. But obviously, this evolution towards pure love would only happen if we are able to purify ourselves. This is why, obviously, we live in a material world, and then we pass to the other side, to the spiritual world, and then we reincarnate. This is why we have these various cycles. And at each cycle, we should try to purify ourselves. And one of the keys to that is to be able to love more and love better. It will only happen if we're able to break down then these barriers to purity. So the greatest love is pure, unconditional love. Pure, unconditional love of God, of yourself, of your friends, of your enemies, of the earth, of the universe. You have to just love. You have to become love. But obviously, we are still limited in our ability to really understand this emotion, this feeling, but we have to really work on it, because there is a lot to be done. And the example is there before us. The example is there before us. We see it every day. We see it every day. We feel it every day. We feel it every day in our hearts. It changes our life every day, every step of the way, whether we are in the material world or whether we are in the spiritual world. It makes us better human beings. It makes us better spirits. It is the love that Jesus feels for us, his children. This is what exemplifies pure love. The love of Jesus, this is what exemplifies his pure love. And this is what are we Jesus? No, we are not. But we're striving to become as pure as we can ever be. As pure as we can ever be. So take the opportunity to try to learn how to love, to improve your ability to love. Take the opportunity to learn about yourself, to live with yourself, to like yourself, first of all, to love it, to be at ease with yourself. And then give that love to your neighbor, give that love to someone that is in need. And this can only be, sometimes only a small gesture, like lending an ear, allowing the person to talk about their problems, allowing the person to open up, allowing the person to be angry, actually, sometimes, because sometimes people are angry at the world and they have no way to express it. So be there. Be that person who is going to be there to listen to that anger. So this is what I wanted to say to you today. Love is all around us. Love is all around us. Let us put it into our hearts. Let us make the best of the opportunities that God is giving us. But let us be generous. Let us be generous with our love. Don't hold back. A few years ago, I was reading a book about near-death experiences. And in most cases, people who, like myself, in fact, had near-death experiences was that they went into a tunnel of light. And if they were atheists, they just saw the light. If they were Buddhists, they saw Buddha. If they were Christians, they saw Christ and they saw the apostles and so on. And at the end of the process, there was a review of their past life, and there is going to be then a final exam, there's going to be a final exam. And in this experience, these people reviewed their past life. Now, they reviewed everything that they did. And everything that they did, the most painful thing was when they withheld love from somebody who deserved to be loved. That was the most painful experience they had. And obviously, these people came back to life, came back to the material world because they had to work even more on being able to love. So, my friends, take the opportunity. Use it. You are blessed with the ability to love. In this world of trials, in this world of difficulties, God gave us darkness, but he also gave us a lot of light. So let us walk onto the light. Let us walk towards the light. And the way to do it is to shine love on people. You don't have to please everybody. You can say no and still love somebody. Jesus said no to a lot of people. He said no to the merchants in the temple. He said no to Mary Magdalene, who was sinning. He said no to many other people, but he still loved them. He accepted that Peter and some of the other disciples were going to betray him. He still loved Judas, and he forgave us in his final moments. So let us keep the example of Jesus in our hearts. Let us use the opportunity to evolve, to grow, and to create just one big love in our hearts. And one day, perhaps, we all meet in a future world where everybody loves everybody. Thank you very much. I now like to close with a prayer, just a short one. So I just ask you to please close our eyes, breathe deeply, and try to find a place of calm and quiet within yourself so that you are at one with God's creation. You are one with the universe. And in this place of quiet, in this place of peace, you then can feel all of the good vibrations that are coming from everywhere, that are coming from this world, that are coming from the heavens, that are coming from the spiritual world. And obviously, as you feel these sentiments in your heart, you're still imperfect as we are. They're vibrations. We feel love, we feel hope, we feel tenderness, we feel compassion. And let us give a little bit of ourselves to those that are in need, whether they are spirits that are looking for light on the other side of the mirror, or there are incarnate spirits here on our side, people who are suffering, people who are on the streets, people who are hungry. Let us send hope, love, compassion to all of these spirits on both worlds, on both sides, so that they can feel loved, so that they can feel accepted, so that they can feel hope, so that they can find the light, so that they can rise up and walk towards the top of the mountain, so that they can rise up and start walking again, feeling that they are supported, that they are consoled. Let us thank also all of the spirits that have helped us tonight, that have inspired us, that have helped us, that have corrected us as well. Let us thank our great brother Jesus for all the things that he gives us every day of our lives, every day of our existence. And let us finally raise our thoughts towards God and thank him for the opportunity of being here, for the love that he gives us every day, for all of the opportunities that we are facing here on earth, all the gifts that we have inherited from him, all the abilities that he allows us to use. And therefore, we then finally ask him to give us his permission so that we can close our work today. Thank you very much, and see you next time. Bye-bye.